So we explore more of that in season 4. Our position is there are no rules when it comes to the music. And we got to do season 4 first, man.
But one thing I do want to mention. I do want to mention that Atticus sees this go down, the walking on water, or he just sees the storm. What is the significance of Atticus being on the shore? Like, I don't want to forget that part.
Yeah. So we explore more of that in season 4. I don't think Atticus knows quite what he's seeing. If he outright explicitly sees Jesus walking, he wouldn't have walked away. I mean, I think if he knows for a fact I'm watching a guy walk on water right now, I don't think he just walks away, and I think he would have just stayed put and whatnot. So I think Atticus is a little confused. I think he's not quite sure, and we'll explore some of that in future seasons, but he's certainly unsettled. We know that, but I think on the surface, he's just like, I've reached the end of, I can't obviously go out in the storm. I can't go out in the middle of the lake. I can't keep following these guys. I need to go, figure out something else. But I think if Atticus would have seen and clearly and known what Jesus was doing, I don't think he would have walked away.
Okay, and also another thing I want to mention. F5K, the song, the music that plays when they start distributing the food. It's credited in the song. A separate person was on drums, because I remember hearing someone starts playing the drums there, and I was like, it reminded me of Andor on Disney Plus. One of the early episodes. It's the first time we've heard a drum in Star Wars, like a snare drum just going away. Same thing here. I just remember thinking, wow, that's the first time we've heard a drum in The Chosen. Is there a story behind that, or is that?
No, I mean, our position is there are no rules when it comes to the music, and it's one of the reasons when I first pursued Dan Hasseltine, who's a genius, to do the music. I've known him for 20 years. He's actually composed the score for the very first movie I ever made when I was 25 years old. And then he hadn't done anything composing since then until The Chosen. And he brought on Matt Nelson, of course, and who's also amazing. But I said, there's no rules. Because there's going to be no rules in the show. We're going to do whatever's great. That's our rule. And so when it comes to music, it's what feels right. And they had this idea for kind of like, Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, which is obviously way before your time. But that scene just felt like it deserves some kick butt, fun music. Like, again, we've been so tense for so long in this season, and in that scene, they're so tense. I mean, Jesus is actually being threatened. The disciples are being threatened. Now let's have some joy. And it's similar to the miracle of the fish in season 1, when it was just so joyous, the music.
Yeah.
So they just said, what do you think of this? And they went for this kind of electric guitar, drum. And I'm like, that's awesome. Who cares if we haven't heard a drum before? Why not? We haven't seen fish and loaves multiplied before either. So let's go for it. So just felt right. And whenever Dan and Matt have an instinct, 9 times out of 10, they're right. And, didn't you think it made the scene feel more?
Yeah, no, I was like, this is great. This is the best, one of my favorite music. When's the soundtrack going to be out? I mean, you can't say it. Can you say?
Yeah, I can say. I mean, it's it always takes us a little time after the season's over, so it'll come out probably in a month or 2.
Okay, because I'm going to be listening to that, because that was beautiful. I mean, it was awesome. It's just a sigh of relief from all this tension building up. So I want to mention, I don't know how much you can say, but I do want to mention, you just a few minutes ago got back from the writer's retreat, season 5, Holy Week. Is there anything you can say about that?
We got to do season 4 first, man. I was on our annual writing retreat to plot out the season. It's Holy Week, so we're going to really explore, as we always like to do, the fact that There are some pretty prominent Bible moments that everyone knows about that happened the week of Jesus's crucifixion. We still don't do the crucifixion until season 6. So, we'll hold to that, but we cover a good chunk of that week. I can't say anything that's not in the Bible. I can just tell you we continue our tradition of finding different angles into the same story. We don't change the story, but we find different angles in, and we make sure that everyone who's impacted by Holy Week and what Jesus does are people that we know and identify with. We're not just randomly just gonna, and then Jesus knocked over the tables and then everyone, the merchants were all upset. That scene needs to matter. And so,
that's true.
We, and you can, here's a little hint. I'll give you this. When Holy Week happens, it's the Passover feast. So over 1 million people come to Jerusalem. And so that's going to include people we've seen before. So
okay.
When you know that by the time Jesus arrives into the Holy Temple, that the people there were lots of people there who were welcoming him with palm branches and are excited, and you can know that would, how would they know about that they should worship Jesus? How would they know that? Well, they've been told. Who would tell them? Well, people who've been impacted. So you can expect to see some previous people who've been impacted by Jesus.
Okay. All right. That's okay. I'll keep that in mind.
I was one way